I'm sorry, what was the question? I was looking at porn.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the Extremely Low Budget Podcast. We are currently standing over the gravesite of the recently deceased Dalton, performing rituals to resurrect him.
Is that like Mongolian throat singing?
Crash! The lightning strikes the grave, and Dalton's resurrected.
Howdy friggin' doody.
There it is again.
Yes, this week we have Derek.
Hit us with some funny names.
How am I supposed to come up with funny names after this?
Green Goblin.
Omega Dalton.
We've got Derek, we've got Alex, we've got Dalton, and we've got Kyle. And this week, kind of a random grab bag of movies. I thought they were a little more similar.
I didn't. I knew that there were weird choices to go together.
They, if you're a fan of cult film, then perhaps this is something that you'll enjoy.
Yeah, because there's a cult in one of them.
This week we are talking about 1971's The Omega Man and I believe 1986's Maximum Overdrive.
I was gonna guess it was an 84 when Maximum Overdrive came out, but...
No, 86. I was right.
So close.
And I know this was 71. Yep. So, we literally just watched these 2 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was slightly more painful than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
had no idea what the movies were until I got here, so...
yeah. I haven't seen these movies in a long time. I think I was a kid last time I watched both of them.
Uh-huh.
So, in my mind, I remembered them being more than what they were.
Really?
Yes.
I remembered Omega Man being very boring.
I could see that for a child.
Yeah, and I remembered Maximum Overdrive being totally heckin' epic.
Yeah, I could also see that for a child.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to talk about Omega Man first, and then we'll talk about Maximum Overdrive. I think I'm going to just give us some quick, easy, back-of-the-box descriptions. We don't really need to get super in-depth on these.
If you want to do a very quick plot, I think that would
I
be...
would say do a quick plot.
Yeah. I think last week's was kind of a mess with the plots because we forgot.
I think we got better with the plot.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh, it wasn't.
Unbreakable we did good. I just think it was.
No, it wasn't
or
terrible.
Split and Glass. I mean, I think Unbreakable was the one we were all over the place on.
Yeah. No, it wasn't terrible, but I just remembered like forgetting things. Trying to go back and talk about them.
Alright, so, The Omega Man. The movie opens with our boy Charlton Heston driving around the empty streets of City.
Yeah.
Of generic city.
I couldn't figure out. I thought it was LA at first, but then I was like, nope, not LA.
Yeah,
every time they cut
not.
back to a far shot, I was like, no, that's not.
There's no way.
Couldn't really tell, but...
It's got the same dirty look, though, so it could have been. Because it
Is
reminded
that
me a lot of Predator, too. You know, it's got the same kind of, like, filming atmosphere of, like, the dirty, nasty city.
I guess. It kind of struck me more as a Jason Takes Manhattan, so I was getting more New York vibes from
I was kind of feeling it. I mean, and you didn't see any like ocean or anything. So.
True, yeah.
Right.
And then
Not
the
that-
city
yeah.
was entirely different once he pulled back.
Yeah.
So, Charlton Heston appears to be the last man alive. He's just kind of out and about doing his thing.
He is the Omega Man.
He's the Omega Man. He's pulling into his apartment when he gets bombarded by a couple of these pasty boys. Pasty zombie cult members with herpes.
Herpes confirmed.
I heard Dalton say a word, but I didn't hear what that
It said
word was.
albinos.
Albinos, yes. Pasty, albino, herpes-ridden, cult member zombies. Boom.
He wins.
He wins. He uses guns.
They don't.
They do
They
not.
don't.
They use their
one of them does.
bare
and
hands.
he also doesn't because he's not successful with it.
Yeah, he manages to escape their little attack and get up to his apartment that he has fortified pretty well.
Pretty dope apartment.
Yeah.
To me, it was kind of boring. If I was living in a zombie apocalypse like this, where I was like the last man alive, I wouldn't decorate it with a bunch of like busts of. Who was the one that he plays chess with?
It was just one, wasn't there? Just the one.
He has like a bust, and then he has like a mannequin that he plays chess with.
Yeah, no, he's got a couple busts of people. Caesar, is that what he kept calling
Yeah,
it?
he called it Caesar.
Caesar, yeah. He's got a bunch of like historical things, and he dresses in old-timey clothes and stuff.
Occasionally.
Well,
but
to me it looks old-timey. It might just be 70s clothes. I don't know.
I don't think that velvet suit was 70s, really.
He's
Unless
also
it
got,
was.
like a whole laboratory inside of his.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it was
because he's a scientist.
It was his house before the apocalypse
yeah, but like
thing.
what
too.
doctor has a whole laboratory?
A doctor
inside
that
his...
works at home.
Oh, you're right. Frankenstein.
It was a
honestly.
different time. We don't even know what kind of doctor he was exactly, or what his exact occupation was.
It says military doctor.
Health
Well,
doctor.
Well, then there you go.
Yeah, on his desk it said Colonel.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think it's read colonial. Thank you very much.
What?
Colonial.
Have you ever
his
seen how
name.
it's spelled?
It's
How it's spelled is colonial. What'd you say?
You said
Colonial.
Colonial?
close enough.
Yeah, they always spell colonel wrong. I always read it wrong.
Yeah, I think overall it's kind of a boring thing. I would deck mine out with shit from museums that I'm stealing.
I feel like that's what he did. He had all those like old timey like famous paintings on the wall.
But it's so boring. I would have done it more like Phil Miller from Last Man on Earth and go steal the Back to the Future DeLorean
that
and like drive
stuff
around
didn't
in that.
exist back then. This was the 70s.
Yeah,
He's an
early
old-fashioned
70s.
guy.
This was like
That's true.
practically still the 60s. He was doing what he could.
Yeah, not yeah. All right, fair point. Fair point. He's the next. Well, no, they keep attacking him.
Did anyone
and they're
else
like,
notice, by the way,
what?
that the Omega Man's armory that he uses to fight zombies is not as good as random truck stop guy's armory that he just has in the back of his dining thing at Maximum Overdrive?
That is true.
Why
He had
is
no
that?
bazooka.
He had no bazooka.
Bazookas
or
didn't exist in
bitch.
the 70s. That was an 80s invention.
Oh, but they had flamethrowers for the Vietnamese.
Yeah.
He's playing chess with his mannequin, and the zombies continue to attack. They start throwing flames through his window. He just kind of nonchalantly extinguishes the flame and then guns down some of the guys.
The scope doesn't move at all, but still targets like 6 of them.
It's perfect. He's got perfect aim. He's got like an aimbot.
Yeah, I was gonna say. He's got dead shot, so he could quick aim and then hit them.
But he has no recoil. It's insane. He's got like the best aimbot.
The next morning, he's driving around trying to find the hive, doing a little bit of clothes shopping, and he runs into a random woman who
Yes.
evades him.
Yes. And then he goes to a bar or like a cellar or whatever.
A
He's
wine
like,
cellar.
Wine cellar,
He's
yeah.
like, gonna get some booze. Oh, but also he's like, we find out earlier that he's looking for the hive of the ghouls so that he can kill them. And he's
Right.
like in the cellar,
They're
like,
called the family.
oh,
The Brotherhood.
he's
The
looking for the
family.
family, and he's like goes down into the wine cellar. And then all of a sudden, like a ghoul, family member jumps out and attacks him, and like
Like 4 of them.
yeah, but then they like knock the wine cabinet over on him, and then they kidnap him and bring him to their underground cult, where they do like a little trial with him, being like, "Look, he's a sinner. He uses modern weapons, and he's also not. He also doesn't have white eyes."
Right.
And then they string him up, and they're like, "We're gonna offer him as an altar piece, and he'll be the last human sacrifice." And when that's going down, all of a sudden, all these lights come on, and it's revealed that he's in a stadium, and then he's rescued by 2 humans, and then
And then he goes full Mad Lad and does that epic motorcycle chase, except for it's not Charlton Heston. It's very clearly stunt double Charlton Heston.
The stunt girl looks just like the actual girl.
They probably just use the actual girl. They're like, we don't care if you.
We don't even know who you are.
Crash, exactly.
But that Charlton Heston stunt double looked like a 60-year-old man with like a totally different haircut. Oof.
So they make it back after like the big motorcycle chase goes down. They drive to a little cabin in the woods, and it turns out that there's like 70 kids still alive.
Yeah,
and 2 adults.
All the kids.
These kids just creeping out from doors and behind trees and over the hill, and
don't let Charlton Heston touch their face.
Yeah, she was
So
horrified.
Straight up tries to touch
horrified when
that
he tried
zoom
to
in
touch
on her
face.
freaked out face.
Well, it looked like she was like gonna like. It looked like she was like kind of like screaming, but they like cut the
He was
audio.
dead
so it's like,
silent.
Yeah,
The audio in this movie is horrible.
Yeah.
There's
The
so many
audio was the
times-
worst.
Yeah, there's so many times when you'll be like watching a character just smile or like have a closed mouth, but then that character's dialogue will be going over the scene.
Right.
mhm.
Super weird.
That's a pretty big thing for movies from before the 80s. That you'll see that all the time. There's a lot of them that do that.
Maybe in bad movies.
No,
Maybe in like really low
a
budget
lot of
movies.
them.
How come every movie that I watch does not really have that problem?
I'm sure you
The
could even
majority
find
of
it in
the-
like the Planet of the Apes movies where the audio won't match to what they're saying like at all. They do a lot of redubbing.
But I only watch the Japanese Godzilla movies from that time period, and they never do that.
Maybe the Japanese
Were on it.
better than us.
I think what it is because I think in America they were doing the thing where they would like record the audio separate from video always, so they would always dub it in. Some movies did that. I feel like that's what had to have happened here.
Right.
I don't know why you do that. No boom mics back then, I guess.
Where do we leave off? They're
Yeah,
at the
they go to the house
compound with all the kids.
And he
it
tries
turns
to
out-
touch the girl.
He tries to touch a girl's
Very
face.
important that he tries to touch the girl.
Yeah.
Remember that for later.
Then they're like,
There's one sick. One of them's
Yeah.
turning into a zombie cult herpes.
Monster.
Whatever
Pasty.
else. Pasty. Oh, and there's a ginger in the group as well.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Worth
that for
mentioning.
later, I guess.
But there's only 2 adults that are alive. There's motorcycle dude who like dresses like all gross with like a leather jacket that flips you off. And then there's
and
the
no
girl.
shirt on underneath it.
Yeah.
Then there's the girl. What's her name? Who knows?
Lisa.
Lisa?
No, is
Lisa.
Lisa? Yes.
Lisa. It's Lisa.
We're
I
going with
confused it in
Lisa.
my mind because I was like, there's also a character in Maximum Overdrive named Lisa, but there's not.
There's not.
It's just an actress that plays Lisa.
Okay, Lisa. Yeah, Lisa is alive, and then they're like, Lisa's like, oh, here's my little brother, and he's sick. Please help me cure him. Is it her little brother? I think. It
Yeah,
is.
it's her
Mhm.
little brother.
And then they go back to Charlton Heston's house, and he's like, "Oh, I'll cure him," but it's just
Well-
the trio.
he had injected himself with the cure earlier, like
Yeah.
before the movie started.
Yeah, so we
And
get
No,
like-
wasn't it when the plane crashed?
The helicopter.
Yeah,
Right,
we get
but
the helicopter.
technically, yeah,
We
it was
get-
a flashback.
yeah we get
Oh, yeah,
flashbacks to like how everything happened, and from what I can tell, it's like the Cold War happened. It was no longer a Cold War; it was just a war, and everyone was blowing each other up with nukes, and then the fallout wound up creating these herpy albinos, and then Charlton Heston got sick and was dying from the sickness, from the radiation sickness, but he cured himself after crashing a helicopter, and then now he's the only person who's immune to the disease on Earth.
Yes, and so his blood is able to be turned into a cure.
Forget
Yeah.
about blood types.
Exactly.
Yep.
It was a
We'll just pretend
70s.
he's like the universal donor,
Sure.
whatever blood type that is.
Is that O?
It's like,
I think
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
O.
yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that matters, but
It was
So-
integral
I always
to them.
forget.
He gives the kid his blood, and it cures the kid.
Yep.
And the kid's like, hey, we used to be part of the family, because I don't really know why.
I think they were part of the family before they turned into zombies.
That could be.
I think that's what they were saying.
She said that they were part of the family, but they started noticing how different they were from them. Like, they're like, oh, we don't have the white complexion or the white eyes, so we dipped during the day.
How did you not notice that before?
That they were different?
Yeah.
I noticed. Oh, are you...
No.
You're asking me
characters.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I did notice, but...
Now, how did they not notice?
Maybe it was during their time of change.
Could be.
And the other ones just weren't changing as fast. Yeah, but the kid's like, we used to be part of the family, and you should try and cure them. And Charlton Heston's like, nah, I'm not gonna try and cure them. They're like crazy murderers. And he's like, well, if you're not gonna cure them, you should kill them. And he's like, nah, I've just been trying to kill them this whole time, but nah, I'm gonna leave them now. We're just gonna go up to the mountains. And so the kid gets all angsty and runs off to go tell them and be like, hey, we can cure you. Or I don't really know what he was trying to tell them, but...
He was assuming that they wanted to be changed back.
Right.
So he went and narked on the guy.
And
meanwhile, Lisa is like, I'm going on a shopping spree.
Yes.
She goes out to get clothes. And
we see her naked again.
Oh yeah, she's been naked twice in this movie. It's heckin' epic. Yeah, so then she's like going on a shopping spree and she gets herself dead in the process. She winds up a zombie.
Gets herself dead in the process.
Yeah, it's not really clear why it went so fast. She changes so fast, but
and I mean, not only that, but she was okay all the way through, and she helped save him and everything.
Right.
But now she just goes out to go shopping, and all of a sudden she can't handle herself.
Yeah, just comes back a zombie.
Yeah, and not to mention, even when she is a zombie, she's like hardly acts like one. So it was like unnecessary.
It's almost like she's still in the process of turning, but like she just flips right to it.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that like the members of the family are basically like they are a cult, and they're like, we don't use weapons because that's what created us.
Yeah.
That's what like brought down the fall of humanity, and we don't want to be changed because this was our punishment and this is how we live now. But theoretically, they still can make conscious decisions, and so not all of them have to go with that ideology. Some of them can be like, I would like to be changed, please.
True.
Like, they all have their own mind. It's just that they all think together as a cult. So she just probably wasn't thinking as the cult, because she'd had that good Charlton Heston peen that confuses the mind.
Yeah.
Clouds judgment.
Do you think he's hung?
Oh, he's hung.
Okay.
Oh, he's hung.
I like how
Can we look up Rule 34?
No thanks.
This is probably a bunch of Planet of the Apes Charlton Heston.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I like how in both the movies, both the girls compliment how good they are in bed, how the guys are in bed.
Oh, yeah. Dude, yeah.
And this was our...
bedside manners, still.
Yeah, this reminds me of in Mandy. They had a cult, and he hung dong.
Yeah, but this is the reverse, because the one that's not in the cult.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but they both have cults, and they both have dong talk.
Well, yeah, but one of them actually has dong. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's why Mandy's better.
See, aren't you upset you missed out?
Was it my fault that I missed it, or was it a meeting?
Bro, he hangs dong for like 20 straight minutes.
Does he really?
It's long.
Oh, good old Nick Cage.
It's not Nick Cage.
Oh, it's not
a
Nick
different
Cage?
guy.
It's someone else.
Oh.
No, you were... That's when you died. That's why you weren't here that episode.
Right.
That's when you were murdered. Oh,
You
by
murdered
that.
yourself.
Yeah, you choked yourself to death.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's basically what happened.
So Lisa comes back a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
She lets a bunch of the members into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Charlton Heston comes back. Or Charlton Heston went off to go save the kid, but finds the kid dead. So he goes back home to pick up Lisa and be like, hey, tough luck, your brother's dead. Let's get out of here.
She's like, it's cool, I already know.
Yeah. And out steps all of the members of the cult. They grab him, they sit him down in the chair, they smash all of his shit, and then He makes an almost epic getaway.
Yeah.
He really turns the tables on them by using the God's tool to man, the machine gun, plows them all down, and he tries to bring Lisa with him, and he makes it as far as the fountain out in his front yard before Lisa turns back to go back to the cult, and he's trying to get her to come with him. Cult leader steps out, picks up a spear, launches it into his chest.
It was an amazing throw.
An amazing throw. An Olympic throw. This guy was an Olympic javelin thrower before the nukes went off.
It was a full yeet.
It adds up.
It was a hearty yeet.
Yeah,
for sure.
You would have definitely... If it was made in these days, there would have been a yeet in there.
Yep, and then Charlton Heston just dies.
He bleeds out. He falls into the fountain.
Kool-Aid.
Well, he's bleeding out, and then motorcycle guy comes back from earlier, and he's
the next morning though.
Yeah.
He bleeds all night long, and he's still
barely alive.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have taken it out. That's how Steve Irwin died.
No, that's true. That's true.
Might have still been alive.
Motorcycle guy rolls up and is in a truck with all the kids, and he's like, heading to the mountains, give me that blood. And he takes a blood sample from Charlton Heston, and Charlton Heston then collapses in the fountain. Lisa, the zombie, is found on the floor kneeling, and so they pick her up and put her in the car, and they're like, protect her from the sunlight, we'll cure her, and then she can be the cure from now on. So then that's all good, and they drive off into the sunset, or into the sunrise, I guess. Charlton Heston falls, he's dead in the fountain, his arms float out to the sides, and you get an epic Jesus T-pose, and that's how the movie ends.
A lot of Jesus in this podcast.
There is a...
Not specifically in this movie, but in the next one.
There was hardly any Jesus in the next movie.
There was 10 references. Dalton caught them all.
We did.
All the times they said, Jesus!
So I'm interested to know what you guys thought of the movie.
I really liked the parts that I was awake for.
Did you actually fall asleep?
No,
Yep.
Not for much.
Twice.
I feel like I
Not
woke
enough.
up.
I fell asleep, and Kyle woke me up almost immediately, and then I fell back asleep and woke up almost immediately again because everyone went, and I woke up, and it was the second naked part, and I was like, awesome.
Perfect
nice.
timing.
No, I think this movie's alright. I don't think it's as good as I remembered it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of cool atmospheric shots. I like the cinematography, although it kind of gets dull. Not a lot happens, and the soundtrack is too funky to fit for the mood of the movie.
Yeah, at the end where it's playing the happiest music ever,
Yes.
panning away from what's his name?
Charlton Heston.
His dead body.
Yeah.
It was just the happiest groovy music, and then you're like, yep, main character's dead.
Yeah.
Woo!
It reminded me of Manos Hands of Fate that had that weird groovy soundtrack, even though it was supposed to be a serious somber movie. And then this one the same. It's supposed to be a serious somber movie, but this awkwardly groovy disco dynamite soundtrack.
Yeah, it was definitely grooving. It was 70s all over it.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I agree with Derek. Honestly, it was all right. I think the best part was definitely the cinematography, but.
How about you, Alex?
I'm sorry, what was the question? I was looking at porn.
There wasn't enough titties in the last
Open.
movie. So.
What do you think?
Oh, he has
Mega
to say
Man?
it so that he remembers to put it.
I enjoyed the soundtrack.
Shut up, Alex.
I liked it too.
I
didn't think it was the most fitting soundtrack.
Yeah, I didn't have a
but
Not all of it.
I mean, it's
I liked the
it's just
stuff at the
70s
beginning
bopping,
a lot.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I did have a problem with it, but the soundtrack as itself, I think, is kind of a cool one. Very interesting, but it didn't fit the movie.
Right.
I think at parts it did, but at other parts it didn't.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But the parts where it did fit, I liked it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we already talked about the audio being off. I even noticed a couple quick cuts that were really weird. I'm sure you guys did too.
There were
Big
some
thing
jump
from
cuts in here.
that era.
Yeah, that is something that's consistent through all movies of that era was jump cuts.
Yep.
Between they filmed the same scene twice and they cut from one take to the next, very obviously.
Right. They made the classic cloudy mistake of not resetting different angles
Yep.
to cut between.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know if I was a huge fan of the zombie guys, but in general it was okay. It was all right.
Are they
That's
actually
how I
like?
would describe the movie.
Are they
It's all right.
actually described as zombies?
I mean, they die and then come back to life.
Okay.
It's kind of the definition of a zombie.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a very different take on zombies.
Yeah.
What do we all think of our boy Charlton Heston?
He's a looker. He's got a wang apparently.
Yeah.
A killer wang.
He's not got a good body. He was shirtless a
for
lot
the
in this
time.
movie.
He does.
I know that's the
Dude, the
thing.
dad
He
bod
was a
needed.
hunky boy.
You can't expect every actor in the 70s to be roided out just for.
True. Charlton Heston. I think he's all right.
Just smile every once in a while would creep the crap out of me though, dude. Like for real, I was like, holy shit, stop. Get away.
I think Charlton Heston's weird because it's like he's not really that good of an actor, but at the same time, I don't think he's a bad actor.
He's a bit of a meme.
He delivers his lines oddly.
There was a couple scenes too that were just like unneeded. Like he was like fighting his like how alone he was. Like he was going against insanity, but then that kind of just like goes away when it's like the phone ringing part at the beginning out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just
Yeah, I liked that part. I thought there was a couple lines of dialogue that were weird, though. There was a couple awkward moments that I audibly said that was awkward, too. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it was just like, I don't know. It didn't feel like natural dialogue, I guess.
Yeah. Charlton Heston, though, is the best actor out of any of the movies we reviewed today.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Did we piddle?
No, I would have liked to, but
I gave it a slight piddle.
Alright, a few drops.
Maybe a drop or two.
I'll give it a piddle. I think I enjoy it, but it's not the best.
I definitely got a couple drops out of there.
Alright.
Maximum
Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive.
Title just reminds me of that SpongeBob episode where Plankton's on the Krabby Patty. He's like, when I bring this baby into maximum overdrive.
Not the quote.
Oh, is it not? Well, fuck then. I'm sorry. I thought it was. Continue on.
What's the quote?
I don't remember what it was exactly.
The Xbox is very chattery today.
But
He's like, not when I kick it into maximum overdrive.
Oh,
Hee-yah!
That's the only part I cared about was the maximum overdrive part.
Oh, well, it has to be accurate.
yeah,
Accuracy.
Dalton. We're killing you next week again.
Well, you'll have to because I can't be here anyways.
We'll pick a good one to do next week.
Lethal Weapon.
Alright, Maximum Overdrive. Really, not a lot happens in this movie.
No, and it does trick you because the movie starts and you go, all right, we're jumping right into it, huh? The bridge is opening up, people are dying, cars are exploding, it's happening. And then nothing
watermelons.
happens.
The watermelons.
Yep. Yeah, the beginning is quite epic. It kicks off, it gives you
The
a little...
ATM, the ATM is the opening bit.
Yeah, a little Stephen King cameo where he's getting made fun of by a ATM. And just devices are all going haywire, bridges lifting by themselves, and
it's like a
soda machines turning on and launching soda at people.
So this is the best part of the movie.
Absolutely.
You see the jaw bridge open up, and you have like all the people panicking, and like cars are plunging into the water, and like the cars are flipping onto each other, and there's like a watermelon truck that it just like all the watermelons just fall out and explode, and there's like an AC/DC van that explodes. This whole movie is like a big sponsored ad for AC/DC.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly.
And then, the soda machine's probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like a baseball game, and the coach goes over to check the soda machine to get the kid soda, and it won't give him anything, so he gets down on his hands and knees and looks inside, and just like fires one out into his face.
Not before he gets hit in the crotch twice.
Oh, that's right. It hits him in the crotch twice. He falls to his knees, and then it fires one out into his head and like cracks his skull open, and then it fires down and kills 2 kids in the background. And the third kid like is using like the catcher's mask to avoid getting hit in the face. He hops on a bike and starts to ride away in an epic escape scene. He just flips out of nowhere, and then a steamroller just runs through the baseball field and flattens him on screen.
It was pretty brutal.
That was awesome.
That was.
Whenever the kills are gory in this movie, it's hilarious, but it only lasts for like 2 seconds a piece, so it's not that it's not as funny as
I enjoyed laughing at this movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that opening bit with the baseball scene is the best scene of the movie, when the steamroller just comes out of nowhere and just flattens that kid. Then we have another kid there who gets on his bike and rides off, and we'll check back in with him nonstop throughout the movie.
Yeah. Which we don't even need to mention anything about him because he's not important until like never, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God. Basically, just devices are all coming alive. There's a bunch of
By the way, the reason this is all happening is the movie starts out with a text scroll that tells us that some comet has passed by Earth, and when Earth is in its tail, weird things might happen.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how accurate that is, but.
Dude,
this
it
Earth
happens
is like
all the
in a
time.
tail.
This movie was
I don't
going
know.
for accuracy, though. That's why like every car explodes after getting shot twice by a handgun. And all the explosions are delayed just to spite Alex, who questions if the car is going to explode or not.
Ending was the worst.
So your main setting is a truck stop where your group of survivors are. You've got Emilio Estevez, the girl that plays Lisa Simpson.
Oof.
And you
Couldn't
know the
stand
rest.
her.
She's definitely like the worst character.
Her super annoying voice.
She's
She's
either
actually not the worst character. The worst character is that waitress who's like, "We created you."
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The like
Well, she's
rapey
dead, so-
salesman gives her a run for the
The
money.
rapey
yeah.
Bible salesman.
Yeah. Jesus. The characters
There's
are
not
not
a
a lot
lot
of
of
likable
Yeah,
characters.
no.
There is
Let's
not a
just start
single
there.
likable character in this movie.
I didn't hate Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, Breakfast Club was good.
He was not a good actor.
His character.
His
wasn't
character
that
was
bad,
fine.
though.
Oh, he annoyed me.
More
And
than
then like
Lisa.
I don't know the gas station owner. He was kind of a dick, but he was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
funny.
So those are about the two that I liked. So.
Okay, so yeah, they make it to the truck stop. The kid, like everyone makes it there eventually. The kid slowly makes his way there. I'm skipping like everything because nothing happens in the downtown.
There's a bunch of semis driving in a circle around the
semis-
truck stop.
yeah.
There's a semi truck chase scene between a semi and the car, and the semi just kind of explodes.
Yeah.
It
There's
explodes
that.
before it even drives off the road.
Yeah.
yeah.
Into the
The
grass.
leader car is this big truck with
A big goblin.
with
face.
Big goblin on the front.
It's like a toy truck.
yeah, and that one's the leader. Some other stuff happens. There's a great scene. Should go down in cinema history as one of the all-time greatest character development scenes where our good boy Billy, is that his main character's name? Something like that?
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah. Emilio
Just call him
Estevez.
Emilio.
Breakfast Club.
It's just Bill.
Breakfast Club sticks his foot under the stall and gives a little love tap to the foot of Big Fatty taking a poopy, and we get in like a long drawn out conversation between the two of them with just these horrible poo noises going on the whole
But it's
time.
only when it shoots to the guy crapping.
But you can
Nothing
hear it.
happens,
You
and
can hear like the wet like slopping
Yeah.
of it when it's on Emilio Estevez. That was so
It's disturbing.
I don't even know what else happens. They find out the owner of the truck stop, for whatever reason, just is decked out with guns. So he comes out with a bazooka and like blows up some trucks. Then some time passes because other things don't happen, and a turret truck just rolls on up. What was that?
It's like some kind of military thing.
Yeah.
I assume it was supposed to attach to something because there's.
It's like
Whether
a-
or not it's real, I don't know.
It's
It's,
like
just
a-
kind of like
a
a
flat
flat
bed.
pallet that drives
Yeah.
with a minigun mounted on it.
Mm-hmm.
and with endless ammo. and it guns down a whole bunch of people. The bazooka blows up some more trucks. The people die. Then they find out because it does Morse code, and it's like, feed us some diesel fuel.
It doesn't say diesel specifically.
Okay.
But they all take diesel.
It says, feed me, Seymour.
Yeah. So then they're...
Someone will feed us.
And it's a good thing that the kid who showed up at the gas station just got his maritime badge for...
Yeah, thank God. Otherwise they would have no idea what would happen, and all the trucks would run out of fuel, and they would win anyway.
Yeah.
What would have happened if the kid was just like, I don't know what it's saying?
I don't remember all the words.
The machine gun just plows him down.
Probably.
It's like, lost cause.
Probably. But yeah, it's like, feed everyone fuel. And so then they feed all the trucks fuel, and it wears them all out, and they escape eventually.
Meanwhile, Hell's Bells is playing, blasting the whole time.
They escape eventually. They hop in a boat, and then they sail off, and then the movie finally ends. And I described the plot of that movie without really missing anything important in 2.5 minutes, whereas the movie takes an hour and 38 minutes to do that.
Yeah. There's some crawling around in the sewer and a drainage pipe.
A little rat
shitty
runs past.
green mist in the sky.
Yeah.
Some epic bullet PNGs.
No, at the end it's revealed. I'm allowed to say this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The end reveals that a UFO was destroyed.
You're not allowed to say that, dude.
Yeah, spoilers.
Well,
Jesus, this movie's only like 4
Christ.
decades old.
Yeah,
sorry.
what was that? The ending crawl.
Huh?
It tells us it's like...
Yeah, it's just like a UFO was destroyed.
By the Soviets.
Yeah.
And then
But
everything cleared up.
there was never a UFO in the movie. What was
No,
the
it just said-
significance
It was the
of
comic,
the UFO?
comet.
No, it wasn't, because it says the
No,
comet
because then the comet
by.
passed 6 days later
Yeah.
as
Oh,
planned.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just
So
said the
it
UFO
turns-
was just like added.
The comet wasn't what caused the cars to come alive. It turns out that was aliens out of nowhere.
Oh, was it one of those things where there's like a UFO hiding behind a comet, like Heaven's Gate believes?
It must have been.
Yeah.
But
But see, they also said something about a Russian satellite.
yeah,
Well,
no,
the
it says
Russians blew up the
satellite
UFO.
Blew up the UFO, but like
Oh, okay.
the Russian satellite would also be technology. So why wasn't that being controlled?
Because it was only diesel, remember? Oh, but wait, except for the
battery,
the handsaw and
I was convinced that it was only diesel is what makes them evil, because cars aren't evil. It's only trucks.
yeah, it's only the diesel.
But then,
trucks.
as Alex pointed out to me, the soda machine was evil, and the lawnmower was evil.
the
and
machine gun was evil.
That's true. The machine gun was evil, and that's not even electronic.
It's like it seems like something you'd hook on to the end of a car or something, and then some dude would sit in the back and like shoot people. It doesn't seem like it runs on anything.
And then they had like a little electric knife that ran on batteries that was evil.
Yeah, this movie's really just all over the place.
Well, it's because here's the background for the movie: is Stephen King got super high on cocaine and then made this movie in as little time as possible and cut every corner he possibly could, resulting in like their camera operator or like their art guy. I don't remember what his job was. I think it was something to do with cameras. All I know is that his job like heavily relied on him to use his eyes to see if things looked good, and a lawnmower chipped up some like wood pallet or something and like shot debris into the guy's eye, making him lose an eye on set of the movie.
See, this is why we wear our safety glasses at work, boys.
Right. But see, like the lawn, it's like you're saying the lawnmower part, and the
nothing
lawnmower
even
moves for
happens
like
in that
it
scene.
moves like a little, and then
Yeah.
the scene's over.
I'm pretty sure it was the lawnmower scene that was the cause of his eye being
Out of
shot
all of the
out.
explosions, the guy loses an eye to a lawnmower.
Good lord. Yep, the movie ended.
It was aliens.
AC/DC did the soundtrack, and there's this epic little guitar riff they come back to every 5 seconds when the cars are driving that goes meh, 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 meh. It's like Psycho, but like an electric guitar.
So
I hated it. The soundtrack was annoying.
The soundtrack was good in '86 when it came out, but it just I was over it.
It was
Sounds like AC/DC haters to me.
annoying.
I like the
The-
AC/DC. I don't.
Yeah.
Special effects were trash. The appeal of watching a car drive over something, it doesn't appeal to me.
I wouldn't condemn the movie on special effects. I didn't, other than like the visual effects in the sky and the bullets, I didn't think that it was like bad. I thought it was
because a
lot
of it
was kind of fun to watch.
A lot of the practical stuff looked fine.
Yeah, but it was mostly practical.
I didn't. Watching a car drive into something doesn't appeal to me.
Well, that I wouldn't say that that's bad special effects. That's just
but I'm saying I said the visual effects were horrible. The special effects were fine.
Okay.
And the appeal of watching cars destroy things, I just don't get it. I could either watch like a demolition derby and I'd be bored, or I'll just go watch like an action movie that's a good one, and then I can see things explode while something interesting is happening. This and the characters were also horrible. The only redeeming quality is that this movie had an epic poopy scene.
What'd you two think?
No. I mean, it was
no. That's all you gotta say.
It wasn't like bad, but it was kind of bad.
Yeah.
Really?
But I enjoyed laughing at it. There was enough scenes to laugh at and enjoy with your bros. Down in a couple of brewskis.
Cold one with the boy.
As we did.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably a solid 38 minutes that you could cut out of this movie and give
45.
me just like a 60-minute version of this that would be more tolerable.
Cut the kid out entirely, except for the part where you get the coach shot in the head with the
yes.
Yeah, that was epic.
Yeah, and the steamroller. So you can keep that scene, but maybe have
just have the kid ride off, and that's just where it ends.
Or maybe the kid is the one that actually gets ran over by the steamroller.
You re-edit it.
Yeah.
Or you just never show the kid. That's the second kid, remember? Because the first kid gets on his bike and rides away and then trips and then gets hit by the steamroller. Just cut the part where then it shows the second kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could always just have the second kid ride through that neighborhood and get chased by the lawnmower and just never show him again.
Yeah.
We just assume he got chopped up.
Yeah.
What about you, Dalton?
I wouldn't watch it again.
No.
I wouldn't.
No.
This would be a movie that I was not thankful for.
We'll see.
As a kid, you were thankful for it because you thought it was awesome.
Know why. I thought this movie was heckin' sweet, dude.
Yeah.
It's got cars that are like evil. What more could you want? A plot?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty boring. Not the worst movie I've ever seen, but
No, definitely
No,
not.
I agree with
it's
that.
it's not the best. Definitely not the best Stephen King movie.
No.
It's like
Kind of disappointing
not even.
actually for a Stephen King.
For
movie.
yeah.
one of the worst.
Not that they're
I've seen.
the greatest. Like Stephen King movies are
I haven't
kind of
seen
hit or
that
miss,
many.
but
Don't say it.
huh?
I said don't say
Giving
that.
us PTSD.
Don't say that. Oh,
Say-
hit or
yeah.
miss. Oh god.
I haven't.
Gotta cut that out now.
They can't take that catchphrase or that phrase away.
I know it's like last week when I said Mr. Beast, and then I was like, oh shoot, can't do that anymore.
Did you what piddle amount did you give this?
There was a little bit for the laughter.
Okay.
I was in.
Dalton.
There's two sides. Like, if you look at it from Alex's point of view, where it was just a good, laughable movie, you know,
Kind of mean.
I agree with him. But like, if you're looking at it seriously, I think I shriveled up a little bit.
See,
Oh wow.
it's a movie that Dalton
pretty bad.
didn't like. It's a podcast first. It's a movie that Dalton didn't like.
No, never-ending stories up there.
That's
I wasn't
true.
thankful.
That's true.
But you are very right. There is very few movies that I actually don't like.
Yeah.
I would say I piddled at the start of the movie when that kid got ran over by the steamroller, but by the end I was like drier than the Sahara Desert.
Oh,
I entirely agree with that. I just was waiting for it to end.
By the end of the movie, I actually reverse piddled. I sucked it back up.
little vacuum.
Yeah, I mean, there was literally like 20 minutes of the movie that I didn't even remember being in it at the end from when I was a kid. So once it got to the part where it was like, fill us up with gas, I was like, all right, boys, we did it. Movie's
That's
over.
what I thought too.
And then it was like, pow, got you with another 20. And I was like, oh my god.
I know.
And just end it.
I remembered the original ending being that they fill up the cars and then the cars are friends with them. And it turned out that that's all they wanted was to be filled up.
That's I mean, it's kind of what it was. I more remember them enslaving the humans, and it was like they live out the rest of their days fueling vehicles.
No, I knew they got out of it. I knew they got out of it eventually when the comet passed, or I guess the UFO got blown up. What the hell? But I don't know. I did not remember the extra 20 minutes of nothing.
So Dalton said he wouldn't watch this again. Let's do that for both of these. Would you watch them again?
I'd watch Omega Man again.
Yeah, I'd probably watch Omega Man again.
Not for a while. I'd give it a lot of time and then I'd go back and revisit it.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Never will I ever watch Maximum Overdrive again.
I might watch the beginning of it again.
Yeah, if it was like...
I might watch that one highlight.
If it was like on TV or something and I was like, oh yeah, Maximum Overdrive, I'd flip it on during the commercials. While I was watching something else.
Yeah, but here's the biggest problem is no one watches TV anymore.
Yeah, I know, I don't.
Yeah,
so
you will never run into that scenario.
It was very, very much a hypothetical because I don't watch cable.
Yeah.
If I'm watching Netflix and the commercials are
Yeah. If I'm watching Hulu and I get to the ad breaks, I'll just switch it to Maximum Overdrive.
Every time. Like, oh, it's an ad break. You know what time it is.
And eventually I'll finish the movie while I'm watching like a full season of Bob's Burgers or something.
Well, that was a quick and easy podcast for you. It's always nice to do one of these every once in a while.
Quick and easy movies.
Yeah.
It was a sleepy podcast. Click on this side of the screen to watch last week's.
You have to ask questions first.
Have you seen either of these movies?
I would be willing to bet that a lot of people have seen Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
That one to me has like I feel like it's got some level of like cult fame to it. I don't hear much about the Omega Man, but yeah. Have you seen them? Did you like them? Did we offend you cult movie fans that love Maximum Overdrive?
Yeah, you idiots. Stupid idiots.
How long do you think Charlton Heston's dong is in millimeters?
What do you think of Dragon Ball, the movie that came out?
Dalton,
I loved it.
Just put Goku in the thumbnail so that we can clickbait, because it's kind of a hot topic in the nerdy community.
It is. It made a lot more money than the other ones.
Well, if you want to take a minute to tell us about it, none of us saw it, you can give us a quick...
Oh, I don't want to do that.
That way we can clickbait it.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us a little bit of a plot description of what happens and why it was epic.
Well, see, Broly is the main character.
Alright, I'm already lost.
Yeah, see, you have to watch everything.
That's why I didn't want to go with you.
Well, see, I asked you guys. I was honestly just so I didn't have to go by myself.
Well, and that's why I felt really bad, was because I was like, first of all, we were busy last night.
Well, see, I asked you, and then I was like, I can't just invite Derek, and it's like, I know neither of them are gonna want to see it, but I'm not gonna make Derek go, and then I'd feel bad if I didn't invite Kyle.
Yeah, we were
I was like, I really hope that they don't say yes, because they're gonna be bored the entire movie.
I was busy yesterday, and on top of that, I was like, I haven't even seen a single episode of Dragon Ball the way through.
I have not seen a single episode of Dragon Ball, but I did have a Game Boy game that I found somewhere one time, and I played that.
Whoa.
But, okay, what happens in the movie?
Basically, it's after the newest episode, so it takes place, it's canon, so it's after the newest episode.
It's canon for now until they decide to just redo it again for whatever reason. Like what they did with Super, where the first 2 seasons
were just recaps of the movie. I really hope they don't do that, because I really think they didn't really leave, like, those 2 movies left a lot open, and which is why they made the series, those 2 first seasons, so they could explain stuff, but this one didn't really do that. The animation was really good, visuals were good, it was very colorful, which was nice to see. but basically it goes back to the beginning where they're like, oh, our planet got blown up by a meteor, but it was actually Frieza who blew it up, and they go and two Saiyans.
Spoiler?
This whole thing's probably spoilers. It was only out for a week.
Okay, it's fine.
Where's Piccolo? I like Piccolo.
He's the only other person in it. It's Goku, Vegeta.
Oh, I was like, Goku's not in the movie?
It's Goku, Vegeta, Broly, and then like a bunch of Frieza henchmen, Frieza, and then Piccolo shows up at the end out of like nowhere.
Awesome.
But it wasn't bad though. It was just like Piccolo's like, oh, there's some, because he's got super ears, so he can hear everywhere, right? And he's just like, I sense trouble, and Goku's like, yeah, we'll come to you if we need help, because we might need it, because this guy is really strong. And then
Nice.
I don't want to explain this movie.
I piddled more for Dalton's explanation of what happens than I did during Maximum Overdrive.
I didn't even explain it.
I think all I know about Dragon Ball is that Goku was sent to Earth as a baby to destroy Earth, and then he like hits his head and forgets what he was supposed to do, and then that's all I know.
And then he's raised by an old man who I believe he eventually kills when he turns into a giant were monkey.
Yep.
And the old man touches him, and that's why he's all. That's why he goes Super Saiyan.
And then he wants to be the very best, the best like no one ever was. And then he goes on an epic journey and fights people, and eventually he becomes a god. And then that god power is no longer epic, and so he becomes a blue. And then a blue is probably not epic anymore because there's probably no new thing. Hyper Instinct. Is that what the next one is?
Ultra Instinct.
Ultra
is the
Instinct.
new one. But he can't
Is that
do
the
that.
highest one?
He didn't do it in the movie because he can't attain it anymore, which I liked.
I like that too.
Yeah, I don't.
I miss the good old days of Super Saiyan 3 being the highest form, and then
me
Super
too.
Saiyan 4 was a big revelation.
And then they just totally threw all that Super Saiyan 4 in the trash.
It doesn't
Like that
exist
entire
anymore.
GT is gone. No one cares about that. It's not canon.
It isn't?
Nope. They cut an entire 2 seasons of GT out.
And then they just were like,
And
God
then
form.
that's why they made Super.
And then he's got Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, then he's got Super Saiyan Blue.
I don't know what.
No, that is Super Saiyan Blue. They're the same thing. They just
They
changed
are?
the name.
Oh, they switched it?
Because no one wants to say Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. So they're like, we're just going to make it Super Saiyan Blue or whatever.
Yeah, because that's a stupid name. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, what does that even mean?
Well, that's when it first, that's why they changed it, because it was stupid.
Did
Well,
you
now
piddle?
Oh, I piddled for that one.
Yeah.
Just piddled.
All right.
What's higher than piddled? I came out excited.
There's
Urination?
so much.
Oh,
You could
piddle.
piss
I
the
always
pool. You could piss your pants. You could drown in a pool of your own piss.
You could fill your
One
shoes
time,
up.
Alex filled his shoes with urine.
That's right.
What movie was that for?
I don't know.
Iron Giant, probably.
No, we didn't piddle for those. I don't remember.
I don't know.
Probably like Spider-Man 2 then.
That's exactly what it was. It was in the Spider-Man one that we were peeing in our shoes.
Yeah, don't you miss
It was in each other's shoes, actually.
Yeah.
Don't
take
well,
that.
Derek peed in your shoes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, take that, Dalton. You missed a great episode. We peed all over each other. It was like R. Kelly came in for a minute and just...
We should cover that R. Kelly documentary.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That'd be interesting.
We haven't done a documentary on this yet.
No, we haven't.
Exactly how much urine did you?
A lot. It was a lot.
A lot.
The whole
In
plot.
milliliters or
I
liters.
didn't measure it. The only downside to it was this guy behind me reeked of weed.
Oh yeah.
Like,
dude.
the whole time. I got a headache from it. It sucked.
Oh, I got a migraine. Alright, well now we can put Goku in the thumbnail.
Boom.
Yes.
Gotcha. And we
It was a
beefed
triple
that up.
movie review.
We beefed that up to almost 1 hour. So good job, boys.
Epic.
We were a little under, but here we are.
You guys were like, explain the movie. Wait, is that spoilers? The whole thing is a spoiler.
You're
or
allowed
no?
to spoil it.
Well, Derek said no spoilers.
Alright, insert this clip at the very beginning of the episode, okay? Spoiler warning for The Omega Man, Maximum Overdrive, and that one Dragon Ball movie that just came out in the theaters just a bit ago.
Not really spoilers, though, because...
We hardly talked
we
about
taught-
it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then put that at the start.
I'm just gonna leave that where it is.
Ah!
Well, anyways, how long do you think Charlton Heston's dong is? Click on this side of the screen. Are we outroing it now?
Yeah, we
Make
can
a
outro.
poll and
Oh my gosh.
Twitter poll.
Click on this side of the screen to check out the playlist of every podcast episode. And on the other side, that's last week's episode where we reviewed Split, Unbreakable, and Glass. And then in the middle, that little button helps you subscribe.
To PewDiePie. Bye.